Introduction to the Veteran. The video opens with a quiet morning in a small town. The camera pans to a park bench where the homeless veteran James Carter sits. He's in his late 40s, wearing a worn-out jacket with a military patch. His face shows both resilience and fatigue. Narrator, voiceover. James Carter, a decorated veteran, once served his country with honor, but now he finds himself living on the streets, forgotten by the very nation he fought to protect. James carefully unpacks his backpack, revealing a small journal and a few personal items. He opens the journal, showing sketches and notes about his past military missions. Narrator. With no family to turn to and limited resources, James spends his days reflecting on his past and surviving each moment with dignity. James stands and heads to a local soup kitchen, greeting other homeless individuals with a respectful nod. Despite his circumstances, he remains polite and helpful to those around him. A glimpse of the community. The camera shifts to the bustling streets of the small town. Families walk by, shopkeepers open their stores, and children play in the nearby park. The town appears close-knit, but James seems invisible to most. Narrator. In this tight-knit community, James is just another face in the crowd, overlooked by many, but judged by some. A shopkeeper looks at James with suspicion as he walks past, while a young child waves at him. James smiles faintly, appreciating the small kindness. James's resilience. James sits under a bridge, using a small portable stove to prepare a simple meal. A fellow homeless man approaches him. Fellow homeless man. Hey James, got any extra soup? James, smiling and handing over a small portion. Here you go. Gotta share what we have, right? The two sit together, sharing stories about their struggles. James briefly mentions his military service, but avoids dwelling on his hardships. Narrator. Even in the face of adversity, James holds on to his values: kindness, courage, and selflessness. As night falls, James finds a quiet corner to sleep, clutching his backpack tightly. The camera lingers on his face, showing both weariness and determination. Closing scene of Part 1. The next morning, James wakes up and stretches, preparing for another day. The camera follows him as he walks through the town, unknowingly heading toward a life-changing moment. Narrator. James had no idea that today would mark the beginning of a new chapter, one that would redefine his life and his place in this community. A normal day in town. The video opens with James walking along the sidewalk, carrying his backpack. The town is lively, with families shopping and kids playing in the park. James pauses to watch the children, a faint smile on his face. Narrator, voiceover. It was an ordinary day in the bustling town, a day like any other until fate intervened. James continues walking past a busy intersection near a park. A young boy, around 6 years old, is playing with a ball near his mother, who is distracted on her phone. The dangerous situation. The boy's ball bounces onto the road and he instinctively chases after it, unaware of an oncoming car speeding toward him. Narrator. In a split second, what seemed like a harmless moment turned into a life-threatening situation. James notices the boy running toward the road. His eyes widen as he sees the speeding car approaching. James, shouting, "Hey, stop!" The boy doesn't hear him and continues running. James drops his backpack and sprints toward the boy with all his might. The rescue. The camera slows down to emphasize the intensity of the moment. James reaches the boy just in time, grabbing him and rolling both of them out of the car's path. The car screeches to a halt, narrowly avoiding tragedy. The boy clutches James tightly, crying in fear. James looks at him, his voice calm and reassuring. James, you're okay now, kid, I've got you. The mother, realizing what happened, rushes over, her face pale with shock and gratitude. Mother, kneeling beside them. Oh my God, thank you so much. Are you hurt? James, breathing heavily but smiling. We're fine, just glad I was close by. The crowd gathers. A small crowd gathers, murmuring about the heroism they just witnessed. Some take out their phones to record or call for help. Bystander 1. That man just saved that kid's life. He came out of nowhere. Bystander 2. Isn't he the homeless guy who's always around here? James stands up, brushing off his jacket, and picks up his backpack. The boy's mother grabs his hand. Mother, tears in her eyes. Please let me do something for you. You saved my son's life. How can I thank you? James, shaking his head humbly. No need, ma'am. I just did what anyone should do. The immediate aftermath. The boy hugs James tightly before being taken by his mother. A police officer who arrived on the scene approaches James. Police officer. Sir, what you did was incredibly brave. Are you sure you're okay? James, nodding. Yeah, just glad the kid's safe. As James walks away quietly, the bystanders and the mother watch him with a mixture of admiration and curiosity. Someone snaps a picture of him leaving the scene. James didn't ask for recognition or reward. He simply walked away, unaware that his actions would soon change everything. The story spreads. The video opens with a newspaper headline on a small-town daily: Homeless veteran saves child in heroic rescue. The same story appears on social media, with photos and videos of James pulling the boy to safety. The posts are flooded with comments of admiration. Narrator. Voiceover. News of James Carter's selfless act spread like wildfire. A man who was once overlooked and ignored had suddenly become the town's hero. Clips show people reading the story on their phones and discussing it at local diners and shops. Bystander 1. Did you hear about that homeless guy? He saved a kid. Bystander 2. Yeah, I heard he's a veteran. How did we not know about him before? The mother's initiative. The camera shifts to the boy's mother, Sarah, sitting in her home. She's talking on the phone, looking determined. Sarah, I can't stop thinking about what he did. We need to do something for him. He saved my son's life. Sarah starts organizing a community meeting, calling local business owners, church leaders, and friends. They discuss how they can help James. Community leader. Let's start a fundraiser to get him back on his feet. He deserves that much. Flyers are printed and distributed around town with the headline, Help Our Local Hero, James Carter. A crowdfunding page is set up, quickly gaining traction. James learns about the buzz. Meanwhile, James is sitting in the park, unaware of the growing buzz about him. A young woman approaches him with a phone, showing him the viral posts. Young woman, excitedly. Mr. Carter, you're all over the internet. Everyone's talking about how you saved that boy. James, shaking his head modestly. I didn't do it for attention, just did what anyone would have done. The young woman smiles and walks away, leaving James both surprised and humbled by the attention. A community in action. The camera shows people dropping donations at a local community center, including clothing, food, and money. Volunteers are seen preparing a small apartment for James, cleaning and furnishing it with donated items. Narrator. The community, inspired by James's bravery, came together to repay his kindness in the only way they knew how, with compassion and generosity. Clips show children writing thank you notes, local veterans reaching out to help, and church members praying for James. The moment of recognition. A community event is organized in the park where a large crowd gathers. James is invited but doesn't know the full extent of what's planned. He arrives looking nervous but curious. Sarah, the boy's mother, standing at a microphone. Today we want to honor a true hero. James Carter didn't just save my son's life, He reminded us all of what courage and selflessness look like. The crowd erupts into applause as James is called to the stage. He looks overwhelmed but deeply moved. James, humbly taking the microphone. I don't know what to say. I never expected any of this. I just did what felt right. The scene ends with the crowd cheering and James looking out, tears welling in his eyes. The screen fades out, transitioning to part 4. Would you like to move on to part 4 or make any edits to this section? A new beginning. The video opens with James walking into a small but clean and cozy apartment. A community leader hands him the keys while others stand by, smiling. Community leader. This is your new home, James. It's not much, but it's yours. James. Visibly emotional. I don't know how to thank you all. I never thought I'd have a place to call home again. James runs his hand over the furniture, looking at a framed photo of the town placed on a side table. The room is filled with small, thoughtful touches donated by the community. Narrator. Voiceover. For the first time in years, James Carter had a roof over his head, a place to start over, a second chance. The camera shifts to James meeting with a local business owner at a hardware store. The man shakes James's hand warmly. Business owner. We've heard about your story, James. How about a job? It's not much to start, but it's honest work. James. Smiling with gratitude. Thank you, sir. I'll work hard, I promise. Clips show James at work, restocking shelves, interacting with customers, and slowly gaining confidence. Fellow employees begin to respect and admire him. Narrator. The community didn't just give James a home, they gave him an opportunity to rebuild his life. Reconnecting with his past. One day, James visits a local veterans center after being encouraged by a community member. The scene shows him walking in hesitantly. Veterans Center, Director. James Carter, right? We've heard about you. Come on in. We're here to help. The director introduces James to other veterans who share their stories of struggle and recovery. James begins attending regular meetings, finding solace and camaraderie. Narrator. Through the Veterans Center, James found not only support, but also a sense of belonging. A reminder that he wasn't alone. Giving back to the community. Now more stable, James starts volunteering at the community center and the soup kitchen where he once received meals. The scene shows him serving food to others with a warm smile. James, to a homeless man. Here you go, brother. You'll get through this. Trust me. The camera shifts to James helping organize a fundraiser for veterans, speaking about his journey to inspire others. James, speaking at the event. I've learned that no matter how tough life gets, there's always a way forward, and it starts with people helping each other. The audience applauds as James steps down from the stage, shaking hands with attendees. The community's gratitude. The camera pans to the town park, where a small plaque is unveiled in James's honor. It reads, "To James Carter for reminding us of the power of courage, kindness, and community." James stands beside Sarah and her son, who hugs him tightly. Sarah. You didn't just save my son. You saved all of us by showing us what true heroism looks like. James smiles, looking around at the crowd of supportive faces. The scene fades out as he walks away, holding the boy's hand, a symbol of the bond they now share. Narrator. In giving selflessly, James not only saved a life, he transformed his own and inspired an entire community to come together.